Welcome everyone to Vassals of Kingsgrave. Today we will be returning to our super popular A Song of Ice and Fire reread series. This will be the 18th podcast in the series, and today we will be covering March 3rd, 299 to March 17th, 299 AC. My name is Greg. I'm Claudius the Fool on the forums, and I'm joined by 5 other vassals today. Let's just do the order in the doc and then Zach at the end. But you know what? Zach first and then you guys. There you go.
Whoa. All right. This is Zach, also known as Alias on the forums. Happy to be back.
Hi, this is Amber Rocks.
Are you sure?
I'm pretty sure.
Odd person. Look
Amber in real life. Matt,
That's...
take it away.
This is Matt Varley on the forums.
And this is Adam, also known as Drowned Snow on the forums.
This is Brett, also known as White Raven on the forums.
This is Backup Recorder.
Backup recorder, say hi.
Hi.
Today we will be covering Sansa 2, Davos 1, Tyrion 3, Arya 5, and Bran 2 from A Clash of Kings.
When you first started that, it sounded like you meant Sansa has 2 points and Davos only has 1. Sorry.
Wow.
I'm not the only one.
All right. I guess we'll just get down to it. Sansa 2 and Amber, you'll be doing this chapter, right?
All right. I apologize for the girth length.
Never apologize
right.
for length or girth, Amber. Have you not
Okay.
done that?
Sansa 2. Sansa has found a mysterious note under her pillow that reads, "Come to the God's Wood tonight if you want to go home." She vacillates between being hopeful that it is from some handsome knight and wondering if it's a Lannister trap. Boop. Boop. She wonders if the maid is in on it, and she's a bitch to the maid. We learn that Cersei changes the maids regularly so Sansa can't make friends, which is really sad. Speaking of which, she misses Jane Poole and even Septa Mordain, both of whom she was also a bitch to, which is, I wrote in my notes, I'm not saying that's not understandable. She also even misses Arya and believes she is safe home at Winterfell. Suddenly there's a commotion outside, and Sansa uses the distraction to sneak out, taking with her a knife, not so much for self-defense, but to kill herself if she is caught. On her way, she sees Joffrey dressing for battle, though we find out later the uproar was just hungry peasants clamoring for food, so it's not like he was in any real danger. Fuck that guy. The black cat that Arya used to chase brushes against her leg, and when she gets to the God's Wood, she thinks Lady would have liked it, and I die a little inside. She blames Lady's death on Arya, which is ridiculous. Sansa is terribly disappointed the person who sent the note was ugly, drunk old Davos. She even draws her knife on him for a second, which is adorable.
Did you say Davos?
You did say Davos.
Damn it! Drunk old Dantos. I wrote
Get
Dantos.
out of my chapter, Amber.
I thought she said Jonquil Davos. That was really confusing.
Oh, I've never said that out loud. Dustbath in the God's Wood. Dantos. Dantos tells her when he was a knight, he was... Oh, this is actually lovely, so I'll be serious. Dantos tells her when he was a knight, he was a fool, but her bravery in saving him gives him the courage to be knightly. That was I wrote that in my notes. Sniff. Well, that and wine gives him courage. He doesn't actually have a plan, but he asks to be her Florian and reminds her they are playing roles and keep it secret, keep it safe. He says the God's Wood is the only safe place, but I'm not sure I buy that. She kisses his cheek and pieces out. On her way to her room, she literally runs into the Hound, who notes her face and teats have grown more womanly. He is cruel but oddly gentle, and he gets points for being snarky about Joffrey. We confirm Sir Boros is the worst. The Hound's grandfather, we learn, was kennelmaster at Casterly Rock and was given lands when his dogs saved Lord Tytos Lannister. His sigil is 3 black dogs on a yellow field. He believes a hound will die for you, but never lie to you. He gets a little rapey when demanding a song from Sansa, then tells her, "They're all liars here, and everyone better than you." The end.
Do you think it was crazy that she was like, "Oh, maybe it's Beric. Yeah, Beric showed up, and he's waiting in the Godswood for you."
Because it's all about you, Sansa.
I was surprised that the Red Wine twins ended up in her estimations, and she didn't seem to have a very good opinion of them at every other point.
Hobber and Slobber or whatever.
Hard. She's got limited choices to work with of the pool around her.
It did make me sad when she said that lady could like smell deceit or something. She's like, "I swear she could." And I was like, "Well,
she
maybe
should have smelled a little harder."
it wasn't lady's fault. She wasn't even there when the whole Joffrey thing went down, and didn't make it much longer than that. So,
Nope. And why does she still think it's Arya's fault? Like, does she have like
What?
some massive brain fart where it's like,
Exactly. Does she not see? I mean, she knows at this point what a horrible person Joffrey is,
and the Queen.
and the Queen.
But she also contemplates giving the letter to the Queen. before
Well, yeah,
she
I
says
think
no, but
that's the
seems like-
Reek in her though. Like the Theon-ness. Like after you've been tricked into things, you stop trusting things.
yeah, I guess.
That
Still,
did
that
actually
jumped out at
remind
more
me.
than blaming Arya.
That did actually remind me of, and honestly, I've lost track. I haven't done a reread in forever. If they did that in the books as well as the show, but like the whole like you're like escaping and then having the whole thing be a trap, and the fact that she even considered that and realized that that was an option, I thought was actually pretty admirable. That she would think in those terms. That maybe it's just
Well, she's so scared. I mean, the whole time she's like, "What am I doing? What am I doing? This is crazy."
But you also get to see like the beginnings of her cunningness and like her thinking at least in her head about what she honestly feels without saying it. Hiding her feelings to the Hound. I mean, he freaks her out, but then she does kind of like get back on her feet, and then she manages to lie a little bit to Sir Boros and everything, which she gets better at as it goes forward.
And hiding her feelings to Dantos. Because
Yeah.
clearly she's not excited about him being her champion.
Yeah.
yeah, she.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say he gets more like rapey down the road than even the Hound. Like,
Give us a kiss.
Down the road.
yeah,
Fuck
he's like,
you.
give us a kiss.
Isn't that a
Whereas,
Leonard
like,
Skinner song, "Rapey Down the Road"? I feel like I've known that.
No, but like
heard
the
that.
Hound's requesting like he's just drunk requesting Freebird. Like I don't think.
That would take a
Promise.
while.
I think that
though.
was the Hound. Sing, little bird.
Sing
Hound
little,
is
sing
really-
free bird, little bird.
Hound is really drunk though. He's like falling over himself.
Or was he? He's just
when he even knows that he's too drunk. That's too drunk.
Yeah, he's like, "God damn it, I'm drunk. Look at your tits. Oh my god." Fucking Hound.
Nobody picked up on the Bloodraven reference. I'm surprised that hasn't.
No, I
happened yet.
noticed
The
it.
cat?
1,000 eyes.
I was
know
gonna
what?
whisper it, but she
1,000
was.
eyes.
Yeah, I
oh.
literally wrote like she could feel the old gods watching with 1,000 unseen eyes, and I wrote Brett Bloodraven, but
Okay. What? Bloodraven.
Do you know if that's the first mention of the 1,000 eyes? I don't know if it came up before.
I feel like we've had this conversation before, so it must have come up before. But
It's always happened before.
Positive.
Right.
Yeah, but it's probably during like a Dunkin' Egg or something.
And I have a really great idea for a new forum name from this chapter: Scowls and Jowls. That's
Nice, nice episode title. Okay, so I have a question. I don't know if Bina put this in the doc or what, but it says, like Dantos wrote the letter, but we know it's really Littlefinger. So, but does Dantos even know that? Like, obviously Littlefinger couldn't come to him and say, "Do this," because he would fuck it up because he's
He had to
a
have,
moron.
though.
But did he like just somehow secretly plant those ideas in his head and let him do what he was going to do, or did he just say, "Hey, you need to go to the Godswood now"?
No, I
so
think
the TV show messes up my mind because I always thought that Dantos was lying the whole time. Like he always knew that it was Peter and he was just doing his thing.
But he doesn't
Wait.
seem to know what's going on. He doesn't have a plan. He doesn't.
Well, he doesn't
He's
have a
just-
plan because he's not the one doing this.
right. He probably got like a small bag of gold to write the letter, and meet her out there, because like when he finally like helps her escape, he's like, and the gold, or like asks Peter for the gold or his payment, and Peter's like, oh yeah, here's your payment, and like shoots him in the face.
Yeah,
I
I
think
always
maybe he
imagined
gave
it was
him
go
wine
between
to do it.
something up until a point.
So do you think the
Isn't
only
he-
purpose of sending Dantos this early was to give Sansa hope for the future, essentially?
Well, not to overplay his hand, to make it
Hope and
you know.
a confidant,
Okay,
because she like confides in him things
right. And
that Littlefinger would never know otherwise.
sure, and he's getting all that info. Yeah, good point.
So Dantos is a little bird,
For
He's a big
Littlefinger.
bird.
a little finger bird, a finger
But
bird.
I
He's
thought
big
he wasn't
bird.
allowed to drink anymore.
Well, yeah, me neither. But hey,
But so maybe Littlefinger just gave him a skin of wine. Is like, here, go do this.
Worst sponsor ever.
Yeah. He comes back. He's like, my teeth are itchy. What else can I do for you?
I was surprised. Speaking of Sansa's cunningness that she was developing here, I was surprised, like you mentioned, Amber, that she was so willing to take her own life if she was caught. That's an amazing amount of metal from a girl that young. I don't mean metal like,
I mean
Like a
heavy
knife.
metal. By the way,
So
metal
metal, man.
metal with two T's. Two T's.
Dark Sansa. It's really
I don't know.
sad
I don't think
and
she would have gone
sweet.
through with it.
What I think is, how difficult is it? I mean, Juliet did it. You know, I guess you'd have to stab yourself up and under the rib cage. But
Hold
other
on,
than
hold
that,
on. Are you comparing
That's
Sansa
difficult,
to
right?
Romeo and Juliet?
a little bit.
Pretty much, she's the same thing.
Jonquil and Florian
Florian.
is posted. I mean, there's been a lot of illusions between that and Romeo and Juliet, right?
Really?
That is like her thing. Like, oh, we're star-crossed lovers kind of thing.
Yeah.
I have to marry the king. Oh my god, they're not going to let us do it.
I'm
Fucking-
playing the Dire Straits song as our opening
Oh, Lord.
music.
But it is just sweet and sad because she's helped me 13.
Yeah.
She's probably
It's-
6 at this point. You know, it's the book.
So she's a zygote and she
Right. It's
knows
just-
enough to like.
But she's
figure
almost a
out
woman
that-
grown.
It's sad how naive she is, and it's like, it's not her fault, but it's just sad.
Mm.
Well, these whole early books, were, like, I just read an article about like this one guy was just like, I read the first book again, and it was so sad. And like, watch the first like the opening, episode 1, season 1, and it's like, oh look, all the Stark children are smiling and playing at archery in the yard, and like, and then just like, where are we now? Oh shit, like everyone's dead. Like, there's a couple Starks running around, a couple direwolves. It's like, oh god, brutal.
They don't
Well,
know how
actually,
good they have
all
it.
the Starks are still alive right now. Yeah. Except
Well,
for
except for Lady and Ned.
and
And
Rob.
Rob's still
No.
alive.
Rob's still alive till the 3rd book.
Oh, I thought you meant like
Oh,
in contemporary
no.
times.
Cat is only kind of dead.
No,
We
but
do
up
get
until this
Valerian
point in the
Cat
book,
shows up. I know someone mentioned that before, but we talked over them. But
I know, yeah, you know who that is? Blood Raven.
me.
yeah.
Oh.
Valerian.
And I did like how Joff was going to ride into battle carrying a sword and a crossbow, which is
The
highly
fucking asshole.
not optimal. You know, you can't shoot a crossbow from. Well, you can shoot it, but you can't.
What
You
if
can
you pulled
once.
it off, Greg? What if you
Yeah,
could pull
one
it
shot.
off? That would be awesome if you could fight with a crossbow in one hand and a sword in the other.
What? He just handed off to reload
he's
it.
clearly a rogue class with high dexterity.
He uses the crossbow as a club and just hits people with it.
That is such a Dungeons and Dragons thing, though, right? Because you have way more weapons than you could possibly need on your character sheet. Obviously, that's what Joff is doing.
But it kind of makes sense though, because he's such an ass. He's not really going into danger because he probably wouldn't be allowed to ride out.
Yeah,
there
He
was
isn't.
actual
His
danger.
mom.
Right.
Yeah, his mom like puts the kibosh on it every time. he
She's
wants
like,
to, ride
okay,
out.
there's some peasants who want some food. You can go take care of that.
Right, they're
He's
basically
in a
just trying to
target
slaughter
practice.
peasants. That's the
Exactly.
intention here.
Doesn't he go out and like kill him and say like, there's your food, eat him?
Yeah, eat the dead.
Yeah, it's like, oh
that
god.
happen?
I
Yeah.
don't know if it's in this chapter or another one because I didn't read this
It's
chapter.
one of the ones that we just went through. Or maybe it's one to just.
Spit take, dude. Thanks.
I think it was in like a Tyrion chapter, maybe.
Not my Tyrion.
Not my Tyrion.
Hashtag not my
Tyrion.
Not my Tyrion.
Not my Tyrion chapter.
Boom. Is anyone here particularly a Sansa hater or defender? I don't really have strong feelings, but when I think about it, I just feel badly for her. Like,
At this point in the book, my first read, I was like, who is this like naive girl that keeps on fucking up like time after time? And now I'm like, Sansa Queen. Like, she's grown on me.
You've taken the long way around.
Yeah.
Well, once
No,
you
but
can
it's
see
tough
her
not
full
to blame
odyssey,
her.
I think it's really cool. It's really cool to see because she has a seriously, what is the word I'm looking for here? I guess evolutionary character arc, whereas some other characters don't have that same kind of progress that she gets.
Yeah, because Jamie turns like from a prick to like a sympathetic kind of prick, and Tyrion kind of goes the other way, and then it seems like he's coming back around maybe. But Sansa's more like, oh, this is actually like growing up, whereas like everyone else is more or less an adult, right?
Well, not Arya. She just gets more and more crazy. She starts off, hey, I hate everything, and then she turns into, I want to kill everything. Pretty.
Yeah.
And people have
Pretty
made
good
that
arc she's
comparison, right? The disillusionment of Sansa with the disillusionment of the reader of these books as they discover that, no, this is not a beautiful fantasy world after all. It's full of dark and horror and all these things. And Sansa is definitely, of the characters, the proxy for the initial reader.
Yeah, I mean, you get it right in this chapter. Isn't she saying, like, why do you let them call you a dog? You never let anyone call you a knight. And he's like, knights are better than dogs, or dogs are better than knights.
I was going to say, wait, that's not right.
Yeah, it's not right. I fucked it up.
All
Are
right.
we good with Sansa?
Can someone explain to me what rue wine is? Because I was confused why Sandor suddenly became like a wine connoisseur on Sansa. Like, have you had this vintage rue? He says rue wine in the
Rue?
Rue?
No, I thought he was a good sour red. I thought
Well,
he was
before
talking.
that, he says like rue wine.
Maybe he mispronounced sour?
What? How
I
drunk
don't
was
know.
he?
Too much wine. Do you like wine? A flagon of sour. Where is it?
Maybe the PDF I'm reading off of is bad.
Oh, you mean the pirated one?
You darn
He
DRM-free PDF.
He says gods, he swore. Too much wine. Do you like wine, little bird? True wine?
Oh, yeah, there's a missing word.
And
Letter.
true.
No, it's a missing letter.
Just the T.
God damn it.
That's like
Amber's got a T. She'll put him in there for you.
I got a T. I
I said T, not teat.
Oh, I have all three of those things.
Wait a minute, yeah, 3 teats? Like
Hunger
the chick
Games?
from Total Recall?
No.
All right, so moving on.
The record, I own the books, I just don't have them
let
with me.
this play itself out, Brett. All right. I have Davos 1 for Clash of Kings, and this is the first Davos chapter, correct?
Mush, mush, mush.
This chapter has maybe my favorite opening quote of any of the chapters, or at least the ones that I can remember, where it says, "The morning air was dark with the smoke of burning gods." It's a great opening. And in this chapter, we see Davos on the beach at Dragonstone, watching all of the old god statues being burned after they were dragged from the Sept. We found out that Stannis has basically taken up with Melisandre, the Red Woman from Ashai, and they are burning all of the gods from the Sept of Dragonstone. And a lot of the lords were not happy about this, and they ended up in the dungeons, and a couple of them got killed, and I believe the Septon is in the dungeons also. Also, we have Melisandre giving her little speech about how Stannis is the prince that was promised, and Stannis has to take out the flaming sword from the heart of the mother statue, which we are led to believe that this is actually Lightbringer, the Sword of Heroes. We get to see Patchface have which may or may not be a Blackwater premonition when he talks about the fire burning green under the ocean. Davos then goes to the inn and has a nice chat with Salador San, who is a sell-sail hired by Stannis, and we get an explanation of the Azor Ahai myth and how, I'm not going to summarize the whole thing, but basically the prince who was promised had to
That ain't it.
kill his wife and temper his sword in her blood to make the sword and kill all the others. And we are led to believe that Stannis is this person, which I never believed, and I don't think anybody else did anyway.
I did. No, I didn't.
You did? Well, that was one of my questions. It's like first time around.
No,
But
I don't think first time around I comprehended it at all, so it wasn't even on my radar.
We also get a little bit of Davos's backstory. We get to hear about his wife and his 7 sons, I believe 4 of which are with are in Stannis' army, either as pages or as captains of their own ships. And Davos is not completely on board with this new Red Woman, and we learn that a lot of Stannis' soldiers aren't either. There's the Queen's Men, which are the full supporters, and then there's pretty much everybody else. What else? We hear about Guns. I'll bring that up later.
Remember how Greg was going to wing his chapter summary?
Yeah, I'm trying. I made brief notes, but
Greg's
Davos-
brief notes are twice
there
as
we go.
long as
Okay.
everyone else's.
I was reading my notes, and then I realized at the end I was.
You couldn't read your notes?
You should know that. Davos is called back before Stannis, where we get to meet Maester Pylos again, and we see that Stannis is basically sending out a letter that explains the incest between Jaime and Cersei to all corners of the realm. And then we get to hear his plan about taking Storm's End and using Edric Storm as proof that Robert's bastards have black hair, which, because the small folk understand science, that'll work out perfectly well. Stannis then tells Davos about his childhood pet hawk, Proudwing, and how he loved it, but it didn't bring him any luck and it didn't work out, and now he's trying a new red hawk, which I think he means Melisandre.
No.
Did you guys pick up on that? Because I didn't get that until the 3rd time through.
I didn't. So he humped his bird?
Wait, no, I'm joking.
No, I don't know. No.
Okay.
What?
New theory.
That would be disgusting.
No one's talking about humping.
Also impossible.
I do find
Probably.
I find the Proudwing story incredibly sad and emotional.
So
Super touching.
sad.
Stannis is definitely the quintessential second son. So I suppose.
Yeah, he's the middle child.
This chapter actually, on this reread, I really like Stannis in this chapter.
Well, we're done. Thanks for joining us. We got Brett on our team.
Well, he's kind of a dick, but he seems very thoughtful, I guess. Like, the fact that, he listens to Davos, obviously, is something that's good about him. He doesn't care that he's only a smuggler. But also, like, the whole, like, wanting to give Jaime Lannister all... Like, he wanted to be truthful in this letter, period. Like, he wouldn't even say, my beloved brother, because he didn't feel that way about it. And that's something kind of unique, that he'd want to be that honest. And then with the whole Proudwing thing, it's a good metaphor for what he's talking about. I think he did a good job of explaining it to Davos, why he's trying Melisandre out, hypothetically speaking.
We're not there yet. No, but it's. I always feel bad because everyone's like, Stannis is a dick, but or Stannis is really mean, but there's
Right.
I've said it's like he is the rightful heir. He's got a great sense of humor, which no one ever seems to pick up on. His men love him, except for the ones that don't. He's got cool pirates with him, so I don't know what's not to like.
So my first note was, I'm so not a Stannis fan, but he does have great one-liners. Like, he just comes off as so awful, but you can't help but have some sort of sympathy for him because, I don't know, George is just amazing. Like,
You're talking about the poop comment?
Nobody's in black and white. What?
If I showed Lord Celtigar the contents of my privy, he would declare that admirable as well.
Yeah, there were two. There were like 2 or 3 in this chapter where he's just like, I'm just like, shit, he's fucking funny.
Even now, Stannis gets no credit. It's all George. George did, George that. Jeez, can't catch a break.
Poor Stannis.
I like when you hear read this, like, I can't read. Oh, yeah, that's right. You dick, Stannis. Like you fucking forgot.
He's a busy man.
I also like him because he's very, I don't know if like a pragmatist or realist, or I guess he's kind of like a cynic. I remember one of the first things I ever commented on the threads was like comparing Stannis to Cato the Elder. Just this, didn't really give 2 shits for the gods. He was really about what he could see, but he would use, like he's using the gods if they work, and that's a very a realistic thing to do, and he's not caught up in the religious fervor. Like he's not even like he's groaning when like Melisandre's doing her speech, and he's not even like into it, but he's trying to see if it works for him.
Right. You say like we all have a deep understanding of who Cato the Elder is.
Yeah, I was saying when you said Cato, I was like, oh, Professor
Cato
Clouseau's
Kalen?
Asian
You knew I was going to
sidekick.
OJ's friend, right?
Yeah, that's what I'm talking about. OJ's friend. Guy gave him a ride.
Wise man.
Yeah. He was a crotchety old Roman who everyone hated, but he like kind of did what he thought was best for everybody and ended up killing himself. So
There you go.
who knows? Maybe that's
So that was the best for everyone.
well, after
Just
Caesar
like-
and all that shit went down, he had his reasons.
Hey, you don't know. That might be Stannis' end.
Yeah. But he was really into wine, and Stannis doesn't like wine, so maybe it's a wrong illusion.
Or Horst.
God, he's
Or
No
fun.
wars on Dragonstone. Such a shame.
The piece of this chapter I really like is how in the initial moments it really sums up for me who Davos is as a character. It really shows that he's, for one, a smuggler in the clothing of a knight, which really comes through in that first bit where he's talking about keeping up appearances, and also that he's a father. You get all his sons there, and the way that
Oh my
he
God.
feels about them, and also that he's just a loyal man, loyal to Stannis to the end. Absolutely loyal.
Right. And then we meet all his sons, and they're all like, "Oh, our stupid sigil." And,
Not
oh,
all
we
of
shouldn't
them.
have. Yeah. Well, but we meet them all now, and then what? A few chapters more, they're all toast. Ugh.
Not
Okay,
all.
so-
Brutal.
Except for Devon. Devon's still there.
Well,
With the
yeah,
kids that aren't out
two
there yet.
babies. Yeah, there's two babies, I think.
Stannis and Stefan.
So the reason I wrote Davos with a heart around it on my notes is because he says that his wife was a woman with sagging breasts and a kindly smile. The best, quote, the best woman in the world, unquote. He's the best. He's the best. He loves his fucking wife. He could have all the whores, but he loves his wife. He
There are
loves
no
the
whores.
simple things.
No, but doesn't he say that he's known whores or other women besides his wife?
I don't care. They're probably boy whores too.
That was in his young formative years.
If Stannis gets anyway, Davos is just awesome. Dantos? Davos.
Jesus.
We also get the mention of
Oh.
Gunser's Sunglass, which I completely forgot that name, but that's one of my favorite.
Wait a minute, who?
Gunser Sunglass was one of the lords who fought for the Seven and didn't
Yeah,
want them to be
defended.
destroyed.
Oh, really?
They-
Dude,
I just
it-
picture
it-
this like cool knight with sunglasses.
He just always got migraines.
And I think like we see Melisandre up at the wall, and she burns Mance Raider / Lord of Bones or whatever. You
Spoilers,
forget.
Matt. Jesus.
Well, that's where the
It's
Dance
all
with Dragons.
I'm kidding, Matt. Keep going.
But like, how many people does she burn before that? Because then you learn like before they attack the North that she burnt a ton of people. Like right here, she's burning gods and like everyone else. Like, how many people does she actually burn? She's not a
She's
good
a
person.
pyro.
as
She
many as
burns
she
enough
can.
to get it done, man. Enough to get it done.
Fire is the champion of House Melisandre.
Oh Jesus!
We've got Pirate Melt with us on the podcast.
Arr. Pirate finger.
Man, it is Salvador
Is it
Sand
just
is
a hook?
actually pretty cool in this chapter too. It's nice that he like has a lot of practicality in him.
When is
other
he
than
not
he
cool
wants to-
though?
Huh?
When is he not cool? I think
When
he's
he
just not
leaves,
cool when he
that's
yeah
when
when
he's
he
not
drops
cool.
Davos off and it's just like peace.
I'm out.
But he like explains the whole Azor Ahai thing. He's like, that was not Lightbringer. They can say what they want.
Well, we can talk about it now, but like, did any of you even contemplate for a bit that Stannis was the Prince of His Promise? Because it always felt like she was trying to fit him into the, very cookie cutter way into the prophecy. Like, oh, this has to happen, so I'm gonna put a sword in the heart of a statue and have Stannis pull it out. Like, obviously that's not how it really would work. But is she just hoping people will believe her, or does she think they're?
And she knows it's not real. Like,
Yeah,
why?
we don't find out
why
that
is she doing this?
5.
Right.
That's
She
it.
she knows she has to glamour it.
Do we think that she? Well, obviously, she knows the sword is not real, but do we think that she believes that Stannis is Azor Ahai? or is she just kind of
It's like
doing
any
whatever
true
to have power?
Yeah, like she wants to be right, and she wants it to fit. But she, any kind of interpretations and prophecies, you can make most of them.
But does
fit
she
any way you
talk
want.
herself into believing it?
Yeah, I think she believes it now, and she can't not believe it later because of all the things that she did to get to that point. It has to be Stannis, otherwise she did all these shitty things for no reason.
Well, she did it for the reason that she's a shitty person.
Aww.
He's a good dad. He's a good father, and he's a loyal bannerman. Yeah. Anyone have anything else for Davos aside from how awesome he is? And
Do you think Stannis deserves him?
No. No, I don't.
It's hard to say.
Stannis definitely needs him. I mean, some of my favorite scenes of
This
them
world
talking,
doesn't deserve Stavros.
Yeah. I just like it when it's them talking one-on-one, because he does open up and he does, he's like, I got you here for a reason. Be honest with me, and that's as like brotherly or close as he gets to letting his guard
Do you think
down.
it means something that he named one of his kids after Ned?
Wait a minute, what?
That he recognizes honor when he sees it?
Well, Ned did lift the siege at Storm's End.
And he knew he was going to have 7 children, so all right.
And Stannis apparently was pulling up the rear too, because there's like 5 other kids before
Forget
Stannis.
about it. We also get how Davos several times says I'm no hero and I'm not the stuff of heroes, which I know that's where a lot of people think that he's the prince that was promised. So this has to be proof for that, right?
It's because it's ironical.
By a lot of people, do you mean you?
Who wants to dissect Sir Axel Florent's prophecy that he saw in the fires?
Nothing. It means nothing because he didn't see anything.
Oh, is that where he's like?
Please
Where
read
he's
it out for us.
The Lord of Light can allow some of his followers to see shit in the fire.
Yeah, and he talks about the ladies in silk dancing. It's nothing.
I have a note. My note says, Salvador San joking about Tyrion capering, quote unquote.
Because he's an acrobat, as we know.
Because he's an acrobat.
I just wanted grapes really
Boom.
bad after that little discussion.
Do you guys remember? It was like a show recap on a podcast of Ice and Fire when the podcaster was on, and he was like, "Finally, we get a black guy in the show, and all he wants to do is fuck a white woman."
What? Oh, is that the Otaku guy?
Yeah.
Oh,
Otaku
he's
Assemble
awesome.
guy.
I like that guy. Larry is the white
that
guy.
was his
People
name.
think he's funny. He was awesome.
All right,
Sorry.
here we are.
He's the same way in the books.
Well, he's not a black guy.
Well, he's not
books.
black in the book. He's some old white guy.
Oh, yeah. Why can't he be black in the books? Does it say he's white?
We get
Larry
some
is the
Starsky
white guy.
characters
People
in the
think
next
he's
chapter,
funny.
but they're all whores.
It's
so.
okay, we have Jallo Barjo. He's
Joe, yeah. Just hanging around King's Landing,
A real
waiting to
estate
take back
investor.
over. What is it, Pentos he's from?
No, the Summer Islands,
Summer
man.
Islands,
dude.
Jesus. Back of the podcast.
shocking lack of
Whoa!
knowledge.
Shit.
I'm sorry, guys.
We don't put up with ignorance here.
Apparently not.
That's
All
why
right.
Adam hasn't talked much.
Oh.
All right. 5-minute penalty.
Sorry, Adam. Adam, I'm sorry.
Wait, I heard my name. What was said?
Nothing. Go back to
Don't
sleep.
worry about it.
I'm not even
Until
joking.
it's edited.
He's not ignorant as to what his name is.
Moving on.
Alright. Moving on to Tyrion 3. And Matt, you've got the recap?
Yep. So Tyrion's at a High Council meeting, and they find out that Stannis sent a bunch of letters saying that, shocking, that Joffrey and all his brothers and sisters are bastards.
He has more than one sister?
And who knows? Well, kind of.
He has more than one brother?
Half sister. Shut up. Okay, so Cersei's all like, I doth protest too much. How can you possibly say this about me? And Tyrion's like, you're the worst. And it shows like the simple cruelty of Cersei. She's like, rip out all their tongues. And Tyrion's like, the wench is pregnant. It's out. It's done. There's nothing you can do, except for Tansy Tea, I guess. But, so let's see here. You see, this is what it is to make it up on the flag, Greg.
Take notes, Greg.
Yeah. So they say maybe we should counter it with a other rumor that's saying that Stannis was cuckolded by Patchface's fool, which would make his daughter Shireen get grayscale, and Cersei is delighted with this idea. And Tyrion's getting the measure of everyone on the small council, and he's like, oh yeah, Peter Baelish, this guy's a little more mean than I thought, or a little more intelligent. And everyone's like, where's Varys?
Right.
And Tyrion knows where Varys is, but everyone else is like, oh, I don't trust him at all, even though he's been on the small council with everyone for fucking ever. We get a little nice exchange between Tyrion and Bronn, where Tyrion says, you almost sound like a proper courtier. Next you'll be kneeling. Fuck you, dwarf.
Courtier.
So they're on their way to the whorehouse, and they get there. And, no. First they go to meet all the smiths, and an awesome guy named Iron Belly says that he can certainly make these iron, but iron's cheap. So Tyrion says he'll find the iron. Some asshole's like, oh, I'm too good for this shit. And Tyrion's like, no, you're not. You're going to make me a fucking chain, bitch. And then he goes through the town to Chataya's brothel, and goes in there and sneaks through a secret
voice, whose voice is like flowing amber.
Not on the audiobook. It's not on the audiobook.
Her voice was flowing amber, liquid with the accents of the distant summer isles.
Okay, go.
Where's Alabar Joe is from, guys? Where's Alabar Joe is from?
In the audiobook, she sounds like an old dead pirate. So
here, give us a rendition.
It's just how he makes all the pirate sounds. I'll put a clip in the audio.
All the people.
Yeah. Okay, so let me see if I could destroy her voice. It'll be my great delight if you find that they are all sweet as they are beautiful and skilled in every art of love.
Like flowing amber.
Shit's hot.
So he chooses her daughter, which she's fucking delighted about, and goes through her secret passageway. And
I think she was supposed to. I think she was basically saying, you're going to choose her because she knows what's going down.
And then, so he meets Varys, and Varys is all dressed up and smelling like garlic and shit like that. And we got how is it a brothel happens to have a secret entrance? The tunnel was dug for another king's hand, whose honor would not allow him to enter such a house openly. Shataya has closely guarded the knowledge of its existence, and yet you know of it. So, I mean, obviously it was dug for Tywin. Calling it right now.
It's impossible.
And yeah, Varys basically kind of shows his hand, kind of not. He's like, oh, funny, how would they know about the bastards or the incest? Weird, who would tell them? And then, we get the great Lord Varys. Sometimes I feel as though you are my best friend I have in King's Landing, and sometimes I feel you are my worst enemy. How odd. I think quite the same of you. Scene.
Do you think Tyrion, he gets upset with Cersei for telling those what the fuck are they called?
Blacksmiths?
People who work metal. Blacksmiths, thank you. I'm retarded. He's like, oh, she said she was gonna crush our hands. He's like, oh, thanks Cersei for helping us with the small folk. But then later on he's like, you can make chains or you can wear them. It's like, aren't you doing the same thing, Tyrion?
Yeah.
Yeah. It just sounds nicer.
But he knows the gold cloaks are not an army. They're not soldiers. They're guards. Whereas his chain can actually do more, hurt to Stannis than a bunch of gold cloaks.
Yeah, but all I was commenting on is what he was commenting on about Cersei, how she's not very good with people, and I don't know as if Tyrion's a whole lot better.
He thinks in his head he's so much better and kinder and more benevolent, but then he comes and does the same shit. He just puts it in a prettier package.
He's just a twisted little monkey demon.
Monkey demon.
Look how you put that to music.
Makes it sound
Join
less
us in the
bad.
after show for the rest of the Monkey Demon Dance by Amber.
So I never got the whole like, oh, it must be Tywin that made the tunnel. And then reading this, like, nah, why not? Like, really, would he say? Because the way he said it, he's like another king's hand. Like, wouldn't he just say, if it was historical, wouldn't he just say, oh, this was for old so and so back in the day? Like, the fact that he's being kind of oblique about it, like maybe it was Tywin. I don't know.
Oh, I never thought it was
Otto
Tywin because
Hightower.
No, I
Good
felt
old
like
John Boy Aaron.
it had to have been made like when it was built, because you can't just build a tunnel all of a sudden.
Right.
Like, it's got to be built within, while you're building a thing.
And Shataya knows about it, like, forever.
Well, it could have been passed down from her, ancient.
Summer
predecessor.
Islanders?
There's a
So
book
it's not
that's-
Tywin?
You guys,
I
that's
don't
where
think- I don't
Jalabhar
think
Joe
it
is
was
from.
I think Tywin used it a lot, right?
Mm. Do we think
Well-
he used it?
Well, that's why I think, like, he was just, like, another king, another king's hand. And
He
it's
had
got to
a
be
wife
in the
at the
lifetime
time.
of Shataya. No,
I don't think so. He had a wife at the time, and he really did love her. I don't think he was off getting strange while he was at King's Landing.
So where is this timeline?
He got Shay later. I mean,
Later, but his wife has been dead a long time. And I'm not saying he didn't have whores after she died, but I really don't think he would be the type to do that. I don't know why.
His wife has always been in King's Landing with him. She would have been gone, and a man has needs. But he's exactly the type of person that would not let anyone know. Like,
Right.
he's the type of person that would use this.
yeah.
I don't know.
And be all, like, Maegor the Cruel about it and, like, kill every laborer that built it for him.
As I've said again, he fed them and then he killed them. Always forget that. He gave them his medicine and then he killed them. So go easy on Maegor the Cruel.
Hey, what's your favorite meal? Pizza for everybody, laced with arsenic.
Freedom,
Yeah.
freedom. My favorite meal is freedom. Sorry.
That's not a bad
Brett, just a question. Does Tywin remind you of your dad at all in any way?
The maple.
That's a weird fucking question, man.
Sorry, guys. That was a podcast of Ice and Fire joke. You guys clearly aren't true fans of the podcast.
Oh!
That's evident.
You do realize most of our listeners will not have any idea what the podcast of Ice and Fire is.
Right.
All right.
I
Anything
think
else?
start putting like cats, like videos of cats.
We'll get a lot
behind our
more
videos.
hits. And a
Our
lot more-
numbers
Yeah.
would go skyrocket.
Just loop them. Why not? People can take pictures of their pets and loop them.
Oh my god! And each host has their own picture, and the editors can just, kind of, what was that? What was that fucking thing called? Winamp? You know, like when you can set like the skins to the music, so they
Imagine
just
he
like
got
circle.
so
in.
excited.
Maybe I'll try this for one upload. I'll put up some just like really weird background stuff.
What was
Put
that?
just put chinchillas
Wham.
rolling in their dust beds.
Good call.
Oh, dust bath.
We get Tyrion like kind of liking some of the like benefits of power, where he's like, "Oh, the Lord Hand. Oh, I like the sound of that. Oh, meeting him in his chambers. Oh, I like the sound of that too." I thought that was nice.
Jen could get used to this. Well,
Right.
Moving on to Arya, unless there's anything else for Tyrion. All right, Arya 5.
All right. Let's see how quickly I can get through this. Arya 5, A Clash of Kings. Sorry, I'm like trying to like have a normal voice for a second, but it's not really working.
Remember when he tried to say that he wasn't taking those pain pills?
I haven't taken those pain pills in forever, guys.
That was a good time.
I did take something else that I'm not gonna mention.
I can actually hear you drooling.
No, sorry, that was me. That was me.
Oh boy. All right. So, let's see. It's been. Let's see. Okay, that's right. So let's see. Where do I want to start this?
At the beginning.
Yeah, do that.
Yeah, I'm not even gonna use my notes. Hold on, I'm switching to something else.
This ought to be awesome.
Oh no.
This is
It
gonna
ought to
bad.
be.
Yeah. Okay. Let's see. Arya peers out at a fishing village from a tree that she's climbed. There appear to be people there. She, Lami, Hot Pie, Gendry, and a little girl whom Lami named Weasel are traveling on their own. The day after Jeremy Lorch's attack, they went back and found that Bjorn's corpse was among the dead, which is really sad. There were some other people there, yada yada. Stuff happened, But basically, Bjorn's dead, which we find out about, which is, you kind of knew that was coming. Let's see. Kutchak and Tarver abandoned the rest not long after. Arya rejoins the others and tells them about the village. Gendry has taken charge of the group because, he's royal blood, because that king's blood, and decides that he and Arya will sneak into the town at night. On the way in, Gendry reveals that he knows Arya as a girl and, making water and all that. Arya decides to trust him, reveal her true identity, which, come on, he already knows who you are. At least that, something's up, so you gotta trust him now. And they decide to split up and search the town. Arya goes down by the lake and sees a gibbet hung with corpses. The town is full of troops, led by the Mountain. After a time, she sees the commotion in town and sees that Gendry got caught. Observing some other things, she sees that, Hot Pie. This doesn't go well. They head back in and Hot Pie gets startled. They are discovered. Gregor comes out, investigates. And what is it? Oh yeah, they figure out that Lamy, he can't walk, and they kill him, and that's the sad end.
Is it sad though, Adam?
And Weasel runs away, and we never see her again.
Or do we?
That's right.
Yeah, I was gonna say you don't know that you see her, but you see her.
Pop goes the weasel.
She sees you.
Oh.
She's currently riding Nymeria.
Is this the chapter where Arya eats the bugs?
Yeah.
Yep.
They call her like
The worms?
Worm mouth or something.
Yeah. She's awesome. She just doesn't give like. She
I
doesn't
love
give
that-
a.
No, we're going right to bugs. We're going right to
Her
bugs.
reasoning is so
No,
great though.
no.
She says that she had eaten a bug before to scare Sansa, so she's not worried about it now. She's kind of picking up.
She doesn't give a banana fan a faux fuck. She just pops the bugs in her mouth. She doesn't care.
I'm sorry, did I catch a banana fan of faux fuck?
You did.
Alright, just making sure.
She just doesn't care about anything, and I like that about her. She's like, oh, we'll have to just go in and steal some food, and like, oh, we'll just have to go in and kill these two guys and save Gendry. It's like, Arya, come on. She's just as naive as Sansa, but just in a different way. Like, the fact that she couldn't believe Yaren could die. She didn't believe Syrio Forel could die. She didn't believe her father could die. Now all those people are dead. And she still thinks that she's invulnerable.
But I did like how Gendry says that, they're all useless basically, except for you, which she must have really appreciated.
Even if you are a girl or a eunuch.
Yeah.
No,
This is
you're a
one where,
eunuch.
I love Treats, and I defend him for most of the shit that he, the accents that he does and everything, but he makes Gendry sound like he's mentally retarded, like he has this.
What?
He always, because it's kind of, I don't think it's his fault, because the way George writes it, like how he had to stop and it looks like he's in pain when he's thinking, and he probably just took that and ran with it, but it wasn't one of his best things.
Well, yeah,
I mean,
there's also direction on that, right? There's also a lot of times someone telling them how to do a character. So.
Well, half the times he calls him Gendry, and half the time he calls him Gendry. So
Gendry, yeah.
Yeah.
But yeah, versus what we got on the show and everything, it's very different.
Yeah, Roger Trees voices him with pauses like Lemny from Of Mice and Men. It's like, I don't think so. Same with
attending the rabbits.
Gren.
Yeah, he's just a little slow, It's me, Gendry.
let's not all do our artist voices, please.
Who's there? It's me, Gendry.
This is gonna be worse than the Harry Potter podcast.
What Harry Potter?
Yeah, you're right. It didn't exist.
Are you?
There's no Harry Potter.
The first time I read through the books, I hated Lamy Greenhands, big time. He's
a little shit.
He was my least favorite character by far.
He
just
deserved to
pissed
die,
me
though.
off. He did not deserve to die, and I don't hate him as much. Obviously, he doesn't deserve to get stabbed through the throat. But yeah, the whole we should yield just constantly. I need everyone to carry me around. It's just that's exactly what my pet peeve is. That kind of behavior.
He was like, hey, you should have just given one for the team and just been like, let me die. I mean, come on, right?
That's exactly what I was like on every family camping trip. It was just camping stuff.
You should all just let me die.
Someone carry me.
Greg, you green hands.
I need a
All right,
potion from the master for my leg.
Do you guys think it's neat that they're like right near the god's eye, but George never goes there?
Was that the
Just,
lake? I thought it
tortures
was the
and
lake.
rapes around there.
Huh?
Is the God's
Yeah,
Eye
like
the
this-
lake?
Yeah, and in the middle is the island with all the trees, right?
The green tears, right?
Isle of Faces, right?
Yeah.
Oh.
And Arya like looks out there and sees it, and she like feels a tugging toward the water, and then she just keeps going.
All I thought that it was funny that they kept calling it God's Eye instead of the God's Eye, because at that
God's
point
Eye.
But there's more than one god. It's
Yeah.
the northern gods.
there's magic over there.
Glad we said
There
that.
is.
Yeah.
Bloodhaven.
It makes me sad about like what Arya's about to go through. That like really like she's pretty much like, oh, I could do anything I want. Like I could kill people. I could do, and then like she just sees like the absolute horrors of like torture and yeah, she has her still like little like kind of
Yeah.
little girl like enthusiasm, and then it
Exactly.
like it breaks.
It was
Yeah,
nice-
she like felt bad. She felt bad about killing the first person she killed, but since then, not so much. She's kind of been numb to death.
There's a
Yeah,
nice
she's
little
like-
quote in here that I think is kind of defining of Arya when she's looking out across the God's Eye and she sees the doves and she says that she wants to be the dove or eat one.
Swans.
She couldn't-
Swans.
The swans, and she couldn't decide if she wanted to be the swan or eat one. I thought that was Arya in a nutshell.
I had a note about that. That
Yeah.
it's so beautiful and so miserable and funny at the same time. Like, she actually kind of, behind Stannis, has quite a few kind of like, oh, you're stupid. Like, she's just kind of quick and sassy and cool. I was a little impressed by, I don't remember if I'm misremembering Weasel, but I feel like Arya was actually so kind to her. If I had some little fucking 2-year-old thing yowling and screaming and crying, like, she was so kind, like when Weasel comes running over and she just kind of absently puts her hand on her head, and she's actually so innately caring. I was kind of surprised because I had kind of remembered it that Weasel was like the worst, but that was not the case, at least in this chapter. Oh.
All right,
Okay, for real.
are we ready?
Out of your
Who has
system
this?
there.
Okay. Yeah. Bran awakens and dreads his day of lording. Bannerman keeps showing up to Winterfell, and Bran must be a dutiful lord and play the real life come into my castle with them all. Wyman, too fat to sit a horse manderly, is the most recent. Bran must mount Hodor and run to greet him.
Jesus.
Bran thinks Hodor would... Huh? Bran thinks Hodor would have made a great knight, just like he wanted to be if the gods hadn't taken away his wits. On his way to meet Manderley, he stops to watch the squires practicing jousting. Little Big Walder and Big Little Walder notice him, and Little Walder picks on Hodor for being ugly, and Bran defends Hodor until Lewin comes out and puts a stop to it. And the Freys are just little fucking shits, especially Little Walder. And Lewin chastises Bran for being tardy. Not retardy, just late.
Just regular
Then,
tardy?
yeah. Then Wyman is very courteous toward Bran and his tardiness, and he offers to build a fleet for Robb. And Lewin is like, yeah, well, maybe not. We'll see. He inquires about Lady Hornwood, like everybody does. But if he's not a good fit for her, his son, he's up to the task. If
Lady Hornwood, she's got huge tracts of land.
Tracts of land.
Well done.
And then he talks about freeing his son from the Lannisters. And then Lady Hornwood shows up. And her entire family's dead from the war, and everyone is sniffing around for a chance to stake claims at her land. We learn Ramsay is marshalling troops and is quite the chauvinist little bastard. No pun. Well, there's pun intended. Fuck it. Though his name is never said at this point. We know he's Ramsay. Lady Hornwood fills us in on his infamy on being a bastard and doing terrible things, and has his little reek pet. And Bran wants to send men out to help her, but Lewin shuts that down. Unless the bastard moves on her land, he suggests that she just sit still and maybe even gets married. And then she's like, oh, well, maybe we won't have to look too far. And Lewin's like, oh, Roderick. And he like nudges him, and Roderick's like, no. no, I can't have more kids. And they have to explain to Bran why that can't be done. So Bran leaves for the Godswood because he's done such a good job. He gets to go home early, and he wants to play with Summer. And Summer seems to know that Bran was coming, which is weird. And Shaggy Dog just runs away. And then there's this big splash, and Osha pops out of the pool naked as her name day, and she calls Bran out for staring at her as if he's never seen a naked lady. And Bran gets all defensive because he's a peeper from way back. He's been watching since he was little. Anyway, they talk about earlier when Bran got into it with the phrase, and she says she doesn't like Little Walder either, but he might be smart because he's scared of Summer. And then Bran goes to bed, and the Umbers show up, and we get why Mors is called Crow's Food Umber, because a crow pecked his eye out, which he must have been pretty freaking drunk or something. How do you not know? Maybe he just passed out. But he's got a cool-ass shard of dragon glass over his eye, even though he's a drunken bastard, according to Lady Hornwood. He immediately asked for Danella Hornwood's lands, or asked for her hand in marriage, but he's pretty much asking for her lands. And Lewin promises to take the matter before the king and Lady Hornwood. And he tells him he needs ships to defend from the wildlings coming down, and Lewin tells him to work with the Manderleys, and Mors is not impressed with that suggestion because Manderley's too fat to help, apparently. And Lewin's like, well, fucking do it anyway. And he's like, okay. The next day, the Glovers and the Tollhearts show up, and they ask for Lady Hornwood's hand. And Bran figured out how this whole thing works, and he explains, no, we'll have to take it before the king. Then Clay Serwyn shows up, and he tells him about Stannis' letter, and him and Bran are friends. They like each other. And Bran has a queasy feeling when he tells him about the whole twincest thing, and he excuses himself, and that night Bran dreams of a three-eyed crow pecking out both of his eyes, saying, fly or die. And then when he was blind, the bird started pecking into his forehead until he could see again. And he relives the fall as a golden man pushes him from the balcony and says, the things I do for love. And that's the end of Bran's chapter.
Well done.
I wasn't listening. What? Always.
All I heard was Bran came to, and then saw Asha, and then came again.
Nice.
I'm so upset right now.
I don't know if anyone else
Do you
picked
think
up
Bran
on this,
like
but I think
climbs up on top of things and just watches ladies naked?
Oh god.
Say it again, Greg.
I think Bran's a little perv.
He's like, thank God my hands still work. Am I right?
Oh, no.
I don't know if his
Right.
I don't know if his man region does.
Right.
We can
Probably
not,
not, right?
talk about Bran's man.
One thing I
So,
seriously, one thing I do wonder is, so does Bran know who? Does he recognize that it was Jaime now? Does he consciously know that?
I don't
No.
think consciously yet, but it's getting there.
Really?
Yeah,
I
that-
think it's just like falling away like the dragon glass dagger. Like, okay, it was a plot point at one point, but now it's just like, meh.
The fact you mean the fact that he can't connect with what happened?
Yeah. Does he?
Like it was a big deal, and now it's like, whatever.
Well, no. Has he
Well,
put
no,
it
I-
together now? Does he recognize who it was and what happened? More so.
Is
Well, I don't
Me that's
think
messing up, or
George
is it-
will revisit it. Like, it's
Well, he
it
could.
doesn't matter.
He might, like, if Bran sees a vision or something of Jaime. I don't know. I think there's ways that it could come up in some capacity.
Well, was Bran ever gonna be a part of society at all?
Well, no, but he's not.
He wanted to be a knight.
Well, he's not taking an active role, but he might, if he remembers Jaime, maybe it'll affect something he does in his weirwood shit somehow.
Could be.
Where'd you say his werewood ship?
His weirwood spaceship.
Well, what would he do with that knowledge? Besides, like, try to convince someone to attack the Lancers rather than the others?
Nothing that explicit.
He could whisper it through the trees, but everybody pretty much already knows. It's not like it's anything special to him.
No, but
Well,
that's
and
what
also
I'm saying is
his-
it could be special to him in some way. Like, it just affects his character somehow. It doesn't have to affect the plot anyway.
But
Right,
also
if there's
his
ever a-
conception. Yeah, that's right. His conception of Jaime Lannister, if he ever remembers that that's who threw him out of the goddamn window, like, he's got this idea of Jaime Lannister as this horrible villain, Jaime Lannister, and yet, like, what we see is Jaime's had this great character arc, and he's, you know, now we see him totally different. So if Bran comes and is all, then that would be weird, right?
Back to the Bran coming. Stop it.
Nobody likes Bran though, so it doesn't matter because it won't change how anyone feels about him.
I like
What?
Bran.
He's not bad. His chapters really did suck in Dance with Dragons, but you know.
What?
You thought they sucked?
What?
I think
Ooh.
Bran's some of his best
my
chapters
God.
I thought were in Dance with Dragons.
Really?
Are you kidding? This?
Yeah.
I mean, he opens the door to a whole new dimension of the narrative. It's so awesome. It's so awesome.
And to a whole new dimension.
Yeah. Right. So there's like what 3 chapters that are good for him, and then the rest are just.
There's only 3
And-
chapters.
Yeah, there's only 3 chapters in Dance with Dragons.
Oh really?
Like there's so much more. Yeah.
No, because all I remember is like stupid exploring the cave. Well, actually getting up north. Like me and Cold Hands, obviously awesome. Getting up north. What?
Never mind. Carry on.
Get like the trip to the Three-Eyed Raven, and then like exploring the caves and like eating a paste that everyone thinks is ground up Jojen, but like I never really got that theory, but whatever. And like I it just didn't. I don't know. It didn't work for me.
That's fine, Matt. We accept your opinion.
My first note is helmet to ride a Hodor. Confused face.
Because he
I
kept
don't-
hitting his head off. Being
No,
so-
not confused, but just kind of like, face. Like, oh, it's
What?
sad.
What kind of face is that?
It's the squiggly line face. Like, oh.
He had to get his
God damn
titties, man.
Okay, we can cut this out. But just that it was kind of funny and kind of sad. Like, if you're already crippled and you got to ride around on a dude, and then you have to wear a helmet because dude is so tall, that's terrible. And
Wonder if you're the dude.
but he doesn't
You're just
know
a-
any better.
How do you know that? You don't
Hodor?
know how. Yeah.
We don't know the intricacies of Hodor's mind.
It's
Right.
because he was distracted by the smell of bread. Don't you guys run towards bread? I
You
run
know
out
what?
of the store some days when the bakery opens.
Yeah, I
Just
do,
running to
actually.
go, bread!
It actually does happen to me. Yeah.
Oh my god, we used to go to this bar that like in the back was a bakery. So we'd go like leave the bar at 2:30 and they just start like baking bread for the morning. Like not even close to opening yet, but it's just like the smell coming out of it, it's like shit.
You just go stand in line with the rest of the drunks until they open.
Yeah, exactly. It's like they open in 3 hours, can we do that?
Wait, so you were actually there at the time to make the donuts time?
It's the most delicious smell.
Mm. It happens a lot in like New York City too, where
Um,
the bars are open till like 5. So you only have to wait like 15 minutes for them to open.
Unrelated to that, is it weird
Bran.
that do you think that Winterfell got one of those notes from Stannis and they just didn't tell Bran, or do you think they didn't get one?
No, they must
That's a
have
good
gotten one,
question.
or maybe it was lost like in the mail.
I can see
Well,
why they wouldn't tell Bran, but
Because this is supposed to be linear, right? And it's not mentioned in another.
Well, Serwyn-
in the next.
Clay
Grand chapter?
Serwyn
must
shows
have.
up and tells him about it, so
Yeah.
I can't believe he's traveling faster than a raven.
Probably got
Well,
shot
it does
down
say
by a
that.
blackfish.
Yeah.
He is the closest, so who knows?
So what does Serwyn say?
He's the one who told them about the Stannis thing that made
Well,
Bran
then, so
go
why
all
did you
woozy.
just? Why did you just say no one told him about it?
He didn't get a letter.
What?
He didn't get a raven about it. Oh, wait.
I'm asking if we think
Oh.
they got a raven or if,
gotcha.
and they just didn't tell Bran. Like,
Yeah, I mean, news like the
Put
Raven
the wrong
thing.
emphasis on the right syllable.
I don't know. I think sometimes we think of the Raven thing more of like a telegraph or something. When there are probably sometimes where like ravens just aren't even an option, even between certain major places. Maybe they ran out of ravens or something with all the stuff going on.
It's
lately.
explicitly
Dragonstone
stated.
to Winterfell is like, you know, two great houses. Like,
Yeah, it's explicitly stated in the Davos chapter that some of the ravens won't make it. They do lay that out clearly. So
Due to storms and arrows and all that.
also, do you imagine the ravens going like Indiana Jones across the map? It's like they hit like
Little dotted red line.
Dragonstone, like hit
No,
the
we've been over
Dreadfort,
this
go
many
down.
times.
Do
They
the
make one
Lannisters
trip,
just have
and
like
they're
a
sent
team
back
of
in a
people
car.
out to shoot down all ravens they see across the kingdom? Just like, you see any ravens, just shoot them down. There's like a constant bounty on ravens right now.
To make feathered hats.
But then how would their own
shit.
ravens get through? It would make sense.
well, it's a directional thing. If you see any ravens flying north, shoot those bitches down. But if they're flying south, you let those go.
God, how would they not use semaphores or flags or anything at this point?
What did you just fucking say? Use semaphores?
Use semaphores.
Flags.
What's a semaphore?
semi-fours.
Flag. It seems I don't get why there's. I understand it's a fantasy world and yes, ravens and everything, but like flashing, reflecting light off of metal or using flags to communicate.
Oh, you mean like smoke signals?
No, those are smoke signals. I mean,
You mean like the fires on top of the mountains in Lord of the Rings that give the signal to Rohan?
Yes.
I'm on
Except
deep.
No,
not
'cause-
fire, flag.
No, that's just a signal fire.
Right,
Right,
that just sends one message.
That's like
What do
come
you guys
now.
think those signal guys do for their free time when they're up on that mountain forever?
Jerk
It was
off.
clearly shown in
They
the
make sure it's
They
ready.
drink soup all day. That's what they do.
They hunt.
So they
and
pee and they
fish.
and they pee.
I imagine it's like the bathroom at pretty much any like place you go to. And there's a check-off list every hour. Someone has to come by and be like, "Wood looks good. Could burn if we need it." All right.
How long had it been since the last fire they had? Because I feel like there would have been at least one that's like, yeah, fuck it, we're not doing it this year.
guys, they want us to go up there every 2 hours. Fuck that.
Well,
We'll go up there
assuming-
2 years from now.
if they don't get their
Let's go to the
supply-
strip bar.
If they don't have supplies delivered to them on the regular, they'd be dead super quick. So I don't know.
Maybe they're in teams. There's a lot of game. Maybe they have gardens up on top of the mountains. Maybe
On the
not.
snowy mountains.
Yeah, snow gardens. They have glass gardens like in
I'm
Winterfell.
glad we got to nitpicking Lord of the Rings.
As we always do.
Gardens are coming.
So is this the first confirmed appearance of Wyman Manderley?
Yeah, I forgot how much he was in this, and how much actual page time he got, but he got some good quotes and.
I like that he's like, yeah, I can probably perform my husband duties, but I have 2 sons. Don't worry.
I like Lady Hornwood's like, I don't think my bed could even support his weight, and even if it could, I don't want to get underneath him.
And Brand's like, I know what they're talking about.
Right.
I know that men sleep on top of ladies. I know what's going on.
It's because he's a
so
peeper
down.
from way back. That
He's a
man.
man grown.
He just climbs up on top of shit and watches people
Nearly
have
a man,
sex.
Oh man, his peeping duties are gonna be gross once he gets all the weirwood trees, right?
Oh, I didn't even think of that. He's gonna watch Rhaegar just put it to Lyanna.
It's like
Dude,
discovering
that's my
porn for
aunt.
the first time.
Yeah, it's like internet porn for him. He's just like, I don't even have to go out and look for this shit anymore. It's right here.
And Blood Raven's gonna be like, "Don't go there. You'll never leave." That's why I've got nothing done.
That's why this tree has grown through my body.
That's why my wife left me. That's
That's why I'm
Shira.
hard like wood.
like how Zach
Oh lord.
So every time I read the name Lady Hornwood, I just got sad.
Yeah,
Oh, it's awful what happens.
It's so close, and like Bran has the thought to send her 100 men. Like, it's just so sad, and she's
Basically,
just one
Maester
woman in the
Luwin
war,
ruins
whatever.
everything.
But
Maester Luwin ruins
it's so
everything.
sad.
He's a
Yeah.
bright-
Also, how is the bastard like mounting men? Is this like okay? So is this
Mountain.
where
men?
Root?
God damn it,
Or
Brett,
a
just
mounting.
I'll let it slide.
No, amounting is not a word, Matt. Amounting is not a word.
Mounting men, then. Oh no,
Are you talking about
gathering men.
Yes,
Gathering men.
Mountain men.
No, gathering men. Like, is this like has Roose already betrayed?
No, this has nothing to do with
Rob?
Roose. This is Roose.
He's just a fucking psycho.
Yeah,
I don't think Roose even knows what he's doing yet.
Yeah, but how is that possible? Like he's trying to take over lands, even though
He's
he's
the word.
bastard of Bolton, and he's looking at the Hornwood lands. Like, how's Rob like get your fucking shit under control, Roose? And Roose is like, nah.
His parents with a light touch. He's a light touch kind of.
I'd rather not.
Roose is Bartleby the Scrivener. He just tells Rob I would prefer not to.
So, what is the state of this fleet thing? Was the plan to actually go do it? Was that a thing that was actually going to happen?
To
Those
build a
ships got
fleet?
made. Those
I
ships
think
were made.
I think it was sent to Rob for approval in this chapter, but we learn in A Dance with Dragons Davos that ships are waiting up the White Knife.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Do we think that's going to factor in?
it's got
I
to.
think so.
You're going to do ship stuff? Alright.
Chekhov's
Chekhov's
ship-
ships.
Well, we have Chekhov's wolf pack, and now we have Chekhov's ships. So,
Potato.
yeah.
It was fun to meet all the lords and get to see them in their knowing that most of these guys are going to be dead in a couple books or betraying the Starks or it works into the whole like nostalgia factor of seeing everything before everything goes to shit, even if they're arguing among themselves. But I did like to see Wyman and Lady Hornwood, and even the Umbers was fun.
Well, they all argue, but they still defer to Stark rule. Whereas later in the books, it's like,
Anarchy.
Yeah. Where Moores really doesn't want to have to talk to Wyman Manderley about anything, but Lewin's like, you fucking will, and he's like, alright, I'll do it.
yeah.
Look me in the glass eye and say that. He's like, okay.
That's pretty badass.
Yeah, I forgot he had a dragon glass eye.
Yeah, that is pretty badass.
It's not like an eyeball, right? It's just a chunk of glass. in
It's
this
just like an eye
Really,
patch.
it's probably just a chunk of glass stuffed into his socket.
Yeah.
All right. Anything else for on any of the chapters we've covered, or
Well, I'm glad we came to like
Well,
a big crescendo there.
As
I
we
guess we're done talking then.
chugging along in Clash of Kings as we do. It's wonderful.
I feel like these
Remember
were
that?
kind of dud chapters, except for Davos.
well, that
Hey,
was,
Tyrion was
I
good
actually-
shit. Come on.
it was the first
Tyrion-
Davos chapter, first proper Davos chapter, so there was a lot to cover there.
Tyrion was not good shit. He's like, I'm making a chain. Yay.
Arya was pretty
That's all that fucking
exciting.
happened. What are you talking about? She got caught.
No one's making you read this book again, Brett.
You sons of bitches.
Actually, we kind of are making him read it.
I know. His fan is making him do it again.
His one fan? I thought he had a legion of fans. Here we are at the
thank
end of the show.
Thank you for joining us. I believe the next episode will be recorded on Sunday.
This is
that
the
the
music
monkey?
that plays.
Don't-
Why are you telling them when it'll be recorded? We don't even know when this is
I
gonna
don't
be
know. What am I
released.
supposed to do? It's what hosts do. Hey, this is what the next one is.
Plug Tinder, Greg.
No, tell them what the next chapters are.
Oh yeah, I should do that.
You also
Next
never
chapter,
said
whatever.
what date we're at.
No one. I did. I
Who's
covered
doing
the
He did at the
I
beginning.
think he did.
He did at the beginning.
Yeah, so you just say that wraps up whatever date. Next time we're covering this date, which is these chapters. Boom.
We're goddamn done.
Okay, fine. Thank you. Next time we will be covering
Can we have it without the attitude, Greg?
March 20th, 299 to March 28th, 299. Bran 3, John 1, Theon 1, Tyrion 4, and Tyrion 5. You do know you're not muted, right?
She was adding a soundtrack, man. Get over
This
it.
shit's like ephemeral.
Did you rest?
Sign off like you got a pair.
atmosphere. Oh, he has a pair.
I just did the
Sign
thank
off
you
like
for joining
Brandon.
us. Blah 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 and all that.
Yeah, but
Oh, but we didn't all say thank you.
Oh,
sorry.
thanks,
Thank you,
Greg.
Greg.
Thanks, Greg, for
Amber was
hosting.
You're right. That's exactly why I didn't.
That's
Thank you for
exactly
joining.
what I
Join
was
us next time. Good night.
Best
Bye.
podcast.
Good night.
Bye.
Thanks,
Good night, guys.
Bye.
Thanks for editing, Bina. Good luck. Sorry.
We don't pay royalties, man. Don't sing that.
Sorry.